When we talk about meditation practice, we usually speak about the process of turning inwards back to silence, to stillness, to abide in simple awareness. But that is just one aspect of practice. We can call this the inward stroke of practice, of turning the attention back to awareness. But there is also the outward stroke of meditation, because eventually one will stop abiding in awareness and plunge back into the activity of normal life. And we can call this the outward stroke of meditation. So when we experience this silence for a while, when we then go back into activity, we bring the value of this silence back into our activity. So of course it's not unusual that after meditation practice, when one resumes activity, there is a feeling of peace which lingers for some time during activity. There is an integration taking place. It's like the traditional way of dyeing cloth, where you would put the cloth into the dye and then you would place the cloth in the sun to dry. Well, the sun would bleach the colour to some extent. It wouldn't be completely full colour. It wouldn't be colour fast, I think is the word. So you would take the cloth and you'd put it back in the dye again, and then you would put it into the sun again. And this time the cloth would bleach the colour out a little less than it did before. So you keep alternating this process, and eventually there will come a time when you put the cloth in the dye, and then you put it in the sun, and it will remain as it was in the dye. It's completely integrated the colour of the dye, and no further exposure to the sun will change the colour. So it's rather like that with meditation practice. We alternate between silence and activity, between stillness and the dynamic. Now there is a verse in the Bhagavad-Gita, which is a conversation between Arjuna and Lord Krishna, and Krishna is giving Arjuna his knowledge. And in one verse, if you distill it down to the essence of what the verse is saying, it states this: established in yoga, perform action. Established in yoga, perform action. Now, what is yoga? Yoga is this stillness of mind. If you want a formal definition of yoga, then look at the second sutra of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, where he defines yoga as a complete stillness from the whirlings of the mind field. This is yoga. We can call it being. Established in being, perform action. So, as a prescription, it is saying, be established in yoga, be established in being, go back to stillness, abide in silence. Do that for a while, and when you've done that, perform action. These are the inward and outward strokes of practice. Become established in yoga, and then perform action. And then do it again. Rinse and repeat. Become established in yoga, and then perform action. Just live your life in a normal way, and bring this value of being back into the field of activity. The inward and outward stroke of practice. Now, interestingly, this verse is not only a prescription, it is also a description of the natural state. It is a description of the goal of this practice. And the goal of this practice is to be spontaneously and choicelessly established in yoga while performing action. So firstly, as a prescription, it is saying, become still, abide in silence, then plunge back into activity, as a prescription, as a practice. But then there will come a time when this becomes integrated, such that these two values of absolute and relative coexist simultaneously and choicelessly as a living reality. This is self-realization. The living reality where this meditation is no longer a practice, but it is just a natural state. It is choiceless, such that one is both established in being, as being, and performing action, simultaneously, coexisting without difference, without conflict, essentially being one value as a living reality where being is always manifest in the same way that phenomena, experience, changing experiences is also manifest. But these two values exist as one. This is the living reality of non-duality, advaita, which is not two.